So what's the problem with this guitar? Nothing at all. It's a little bit of a glare over there, but the thing is that I brought this guitar. It's from the 90s. Like I said, I live in the Caribbean, and so when I pull it out of the case here, I started feeling like the frets here. You can see it in the camera, but the frets here, they're kind of like sticking out, and it's kind of hurting when you try to get in there. Like you really can't get in there, you know. So I said, you know what? I got guitars back home, but might as well just try one of those like really performance based guitars. I was thinking maybe something in the lines of Charvel or something like that, because they're like good bang for the buck, and they have like specifications that I was kind of looking for. You know, the fast neck and all that. I was starting to get interested in the compound radius, and I said, you know what, let me ask this guy. So, hey man, what do you recommend? I think maybe I'm thinking sub 1500, which I think is enough. He said, hey man, sure, why don't you get a Soar? And I'm like, huh? Well, it's a little out of my price range. I mean, last year a friend of mine offered me one, and I'm kind of like, nah, it's okay. I'm not looking for that right now. More like a traditional classic player, um, and and right now it's out of my budget. I said, well, man, I don't think so. And he said, then why don't you try one of those Fender Ultras? And I'm like, well, isn't that like in the maybe a little less than the Sir, or the same price range? And he said, well, try to find one used. You know, like, yeah, well, of course, we'll see. So I said, you know what, let's try. I find a good deal for it. So, you know, it's here. And this video is about high-end guitars, or top of the line, or what you call them, this flagship guitars. Really worth it, really worth the investment. Short answer, yes, and also no. I mean, it depends on what your expectations are. So my reason for getting this guitar was because I wanted an instrument that gave you that high end feel, that gave you that the least amount of obstacles in your way to try to uh, achieve this high level techniques, which of course I'm still not there. You could hear in my playing, I'm not there yet. I just got the guitar, and I'm trying to practice. I'm starting to practice. So a lot of cool things about this guitar. It has the contour in the back that you can look. It has a compound radius. And those of you who don't know what compound radius is basically, electric guitars in particular are curved across the width of the neck. Basically, it means it follows the natural curvature of the palm and gives you a more intuitive grip to the neck. That's what they measure. That curve is what they measure, and that's what they mean by radius. So different guitars have different radius and different feel properties, but most guitars have a consistent radius, which is like the same, like this Fender is the same radius. It's a nice radius, like I said, it's good for playing. If it wasn't for the sticking of the frets here, it's kind of sharp. So it's the same length. Okay, so so the compound radius is like it's consistent radius along the fretboard, so it gives you that nice, that natural curvature, and it's something that's kind of like difficult to explain, but when you get the neck in your hand and you pass across, you feel it. You actually feel it. Like that's the first thing that I did with that guitar, and I did bought it online. I don't like buying instruments online without testing them, being that I had tested the Fender Ultra, different Fender Ultra, in a store, and a couple of months ago, and this guy gave me such a good reference. So I said, you know what, let's try. Worst case scenario, I can just sell it. It was a good deal. So these are the Fender Stratocaster Ultra, and as you can see, they have very steep prices, right? They're like 2,200 with taxes, 2,300, 2,200 over there. Uh, 2700, because that's the looks. Yeah, that's the one I have, the looks, right? It's a different one, and you see, they're like in a. I feel like they're in competition with like Sir, because Sir is kind of like this brand that makes guitars like it's kind of like with the Fender style, but with like more high end specs. And it's funny because Sir it's kind of like copying Fender. So Sir is copying Fender and trying to do like a better version of Fender, and or more modern version of Fender, or just look like a Fender. That's what I'm saying. But now Fender is going for their market, like the higher end market, and the high specs and the flagships. So yeah, so you can see there the contour over there, the frets. I think they're stainless steel, and I think Fender had never done that before. Scory won with one of them. Yada yada. Yeah, they're gorgeous instruments. They're great instruments. Let me show you my guitar. So you can see the guitar. Let's look at the back. It's the contour over there. So you can see it in the light. See the contour there? Usually Fenders don't have that. Special editions. You see here, kind of like a pocket there. Here too. Here's a big one right there. Right? You can put your hand there. It fits better. Now compared to this one, see it here. Don't let this confuse you. That's just a painting. But I don't know if you can see it there. It doesn't have those contours here. Yeah. It doesn't have them. You see like the square metal right there. And the question is it worth it or is it not? Like already I got one. I also have other Fenders. I have Mexican Fenders. I have Squire guitars. And I have a American Fender like that one. I have a Performer like from a couple of years ago, and I have this American from the 90s. Compared to Sir, I don't know how they compare to Sir. I tried a Sir once. It was my friend's. It was a great instrument. You could feel the quality on it immediately once you grab it. Okay, so I don't know how they compare to Fender though. I've heard people saying, "Oh, they're as good as the Sir. It's just a little bit different." Okay, the neck profile on the Sir is a little bit different. Just the measurement. Okay, that's cool. To each their own. Maybe the Sir's better for you. But the point here is like, is it worth it? Okay, so one of the big sellers on these guitars, like I said before, is the compound radius, right? That's something that you don't see in like your regular run-of-the-mill guitar. I know Jackson makes some, if I'm not mistaken, and Charvel, you can also get some, and they're really nice instruments too. Perfectly nice guitar, $700, and it does the job. So it's $65. So what's the difference? And of course, pickups, where it's made, yeah. But the point is that you can do the same that you do with this guitar down with this one, right? The difference is the specs that you're looking for, and like this one, it makes it less harder on you, if that makes sense, depending on what you're playing. Like if you're playing like I don't know, I would say blues, which I love. I'm not trying to sing on the blues. I don't think you really need a guitar like this. I mean, I know some of y'all be like, yeah, of course. I mean, yeah, if you want to, if you can afford it, yeah. But I don't think your money is getting that much more return of investment. It's a thing of diminishing returns. It's diminishing returns. Like everything, once you start paying more and more, it's diminishing returns. And here is clear, like you are not getting like this guitar for 2200 or 2700 or whatever, it's not 4 times better than the 600 or the 700. It's not 3 times better. No, it's just like details. I mean, and some people will see the value of buying a Lexus because of the features and other, you know, specifications they're looking on it, than getting the Camry or the Toyota, whichever model, you know, because they're getting bang for the buck with the Toyota, but they just want to have, you know, the luxury and the Lexus. Make sense? I don't know if I want to explain it myself. So yeah, that's that. So going back to the compound rate, I've heard Warmoth was the one that came up with the compound radius, and somebody can correct me if I'm wrong. Because also I believe like back in the 70s, people were kind of like toying with the idea, but I believe Warmoth was the one that started like selling them. And people, of course, Warmoth is a company for guitar parts, and you could replace your guitar neck with a Warmoth, and you will have like a compound radius neck and a better neck. This is the information for the fretboard radius. Wanted to reach you some of this information that's here, maybe not all of it. If you want to have some information on compound radius, you can go to Warmoth's website. The link is in the description. There's also this this essay here in this website, guitarmeet.com, also in the description, and you can read more about it.
A compound radius refers to having a different fretboard curvature from the nut all the way to the heel near the body. It's important to understand that this does not imply having a thicker or thinner neck, and this is something different entirely. Some fretboards on guitars will have little to no curvature and, therefore, be flatter, whereas many will be curved. What determines this is the radius of the fretboard, and guitars that have a compound radius will be rounder towards the nut and first fret and gradually become flatter as you go down the fretboard. For example, a 12-inch-16 compound radius is a very commonly seen specification on most Charvel and Jackson guitars. The lower the radius, the rounder it will be compared to a higher one. In this case, these guitars will start out with a 12-inch and seamlessly move towards 16. This contrasts with many guitars that have one radius throughout the entire neck, like a lot of Stratocasters with a 9.5-inch radius. However, there are also many Fender Stratocasters, particularly the higher-end ones, that use a 9.5-inch to 12 or 14 compound radius. That's the neck in the back. As you can see, I mean, it has, I'm showcasing both of the guitars. And of course, there's one that has more features like the Floyd Rose and the humbucker, but we're just comparing the body style, right? Also, that one has the matching headstock. I liked it. I mean, I usually like the regular wood headstock, but wood color headstock, but the matching headstock gives it a different type of, you know, feel. That's the neck right there. Okay. You can see the neck on the other one. It's been upgraded to locking tuners, but you see it has the same radius and it doesn't have the contours at the end. And of course, you can say, well, all the guitars, like, I don't know, Harley Benton and Ibanez and everybody else has done the contours on the guitars. But I mean, Fender's so iconic, and they sell the Stratocaster when it came out. It was such a huge leap of what it was available that I think, yeah, there has been some changes, some important changes to guitar making, but the Stratocaster was like the biggest jump on that regard. So Fender has been selling so many of them that they don't have to like change that much. And also most of the customers, me included, sometimes we just like things like the classic way.
and we don't like the changes and everything. So yeah, that's that. What are your thoughts? Do you like the high end guitars? Do you think it's worth the money? I say depends on what you want it for. If you want a more advanced instrument and more of a soloist feel, and you want to practice your advanced techniques on it, then yeah, of course. I mean, they're worth it because you know what you want it for. Yeah, this high end guitars, they have great pickups. They have way better pickups, or a different selection of pickups from the regular ones. They have the compound radius neck with it too. They have more attention to detail, more care. So really, it depends of what you want to do with an instrument and what your range is. Something else that I didn't mention, this one has the S1 button here. So that does the single coil tapping thingy. And this one is a pretty convincing one. I usually don't like coil tapping. It sounds very weak with some exceptions. Paul Reed-Smith being one of them. They kind of know what to do with the coil tapping. I also have a Gibson Special that has some really nice coil tapping. But it's kind of like gimmicky all the time. This one sounds right. Sounds Stratocaster. As close as it can get. I still feel like this one. The single coil on this one in the bridge sounds better than this coil tap one. But of course, it's the real deal. If you have any questions for this guitar or any questions for me, and like I said, it all depends on what you want the guitar for, and what your range is, and what you want to do, the style of music that you play. It may not be worth the investment, because remember, you can still buy a Fender Professional for like about $700 to $1,000 less than you could buy this one. We're talking brand new prices. So if they're even if you want to stay like American made Fender, you don't have to buy the most advanced one, or the one with all the features like this one. And you can still buy the made in Mexico ones. The made in Mexico are great guitars, are amazing guitars. I got one or two that I wouldn't trade them for American made Fenders, because just for any American made Fenders, like I like them a lot. I don't think I will part with them, like never. You can still do with the Fender lower end or mid price ones, and you'll be able to play whatever. You could tour with them. You could play professionally with them. And you really don't need this. It is worth it, but it's also not worth it at all, depending on your needs. So please leave a comment. Ask any questions about the guitar, or if you would like to see a complete review of the guitar. I will say try them out always, and make sure that you invest your money well. And peace.